Shemai Pal, hello everyone. My name is Nova. You guys may know me from my tiny little skits. Deep throat cigarette. Maybe the random streams I really have neglected over the years.
Can you? Okay, enough of the trowel. Do you want me to? You want me to? Look there. Are you happy now? Are you happy? Are you happy with the trowel?
Or maybe, for some reason, you've been noticing a Pathfinder game I've been playing with my friends.
40 plus gold on them, obviously. What do you mean people are homeless? Just buy a house.
Just buy one.
Now this is meant to be archival, just for the players to watch and be kept up, like extreme note-taking. It began as a D&D game, but we later transferred it to Pathfinder after the whole OGL situation. We started back in 2022, but this story has gone through a tumultuous time, culminating in a soft reset of all things. The story of the pre-reset is technically the same world, but going through 27 hours of content to get a small bit of information is insufficient for both players wanting to watch everything and whoever's insane enough to watch these anyway. So, I will be giving you the highlights, right out of the Book of Traldos itself where all the stories are kept. Let us look into the chapters of a misfitted band of folks, trimming down the excess and rewriting the pages to create a much more concise appetizer to the party of fools. Welcome to the Prologue. So this story starts with me. Hello. And my character, if you never guessed, was the goblin named Crete. Hi. He's a wild magic goblin sorcerer, a silly fellow, very impulsive. And I'm glad I have a dungeon master who's willing to put up with him in my very first campaign. And they would be our wacky and well-spoken Trashy, also known as T. Both of us met in a Discord server called the Grim Goblin completely incidentally. From there he mentioned that he was gathering a small group for a digital campaign and well, I wasn't going to let that little tidbit slide, was I? Whilst it wasn't his first campaign ever, it was his first one done solely online, and if I were to be biased, I'd say he's done a fantastic job. All that was left was to get our party together, and once we did that, we could begin.
We find ourselves in Traldos, a land where the minds of dragons rule an empire, where beings formed before the creation of the universe once ruled, where entities beyond comprehension fight back against usurping gods, and where the mysteries of the Fae persist across all realms, where a tree, seen all across the horizon, holds life and power, where creatures from all walks of life find themselves in a land of adventure, mystery, riches, and story, and where the most unlikely of beings can change history.
This was our opening to Traldos, spoken by Trashy himself. We begin in a tavern, as per tradition, in the country of Romaries. The tavern, the Trees Brittle, had 5 members. I don't need to introduce Crete. You know Crete.
Yeah,
we
you
love
do.
Crete, but he was different.
Wait,
more
what?
self-obsessed, more paranoid.
You motherfucker.
Nevertheless, we also had a bugbear barbarian named Bendar, a human wizard named Darius, a half-elf warlock named Petrosicus, aka Petro, and a tiefling artificer named Kay. This roster will change throughout the session, so I'll keep track for you. The first thing we do was talk about joining Petro and buying a ship, and of course we're talking about food, like getting food, eating food, and then it's all interrupted by screaming outside the tavern. Workers of the nearby mines yell about monsters within lurking. With the promise of a prize, we venture within. We make our way in, some nice little chatter amongst the group as we got into formation. Darius casts detect magic as to see a necromantic energy leading the trail. Then a fight breaks out. After defeating some zombie attackers, we go off the beaten path to eradicate the enemy presence before reaching its source. We found a cafeteria filled with rats. Beating them, we find some magic items within a tiny safe room, including a sword, some potions, and a magical deck of cards. Crete takes them, and everyone has a long rest before taking on the boss. I should mention that this deck of cards is similar to an infamous player-killing deck, but it's homebrewed to be a wackier and fairer version, true to the spirit of Trashy. We go down a player and gain 2 more. we lose Darius, and the new people I'll get to later. The party takes shifts to keep watch during the night. Just as the shift schedule ends, however, they hear screaming back inside the mines. Going to investigate, they find a search party of 2 who had come to find them. We have a Tabaxi named Golden Eyes and a Kenku named Jingle. Yes, him! He needs no introduction. It's Jingle. He is the Jointler.
Yo, they call me Daddy J.
Jingle confuses the group a little, primarily Crete, since he believes that he's a rare and feathery goblin, much to the actual goblin's confusion. The party's greeting and squabbling is cut short by another zombie attack, reminding the group of their goal. Going into the final chamber, they see a necromancer in the middle of a summoning ritual within its altar. The party attempts to stop him, and after a lot of fighting and a well-placed Eldritch Blast from Petro, the necromancer falls. As the group loots the spoils, both Golden Eyes and Petro investigate the nature of the necromancer itself, realizing that this may be bigger than the situation at hand. They follow the group back to the surface to collect their pay. The Bendar, Crete's travelling partner, starts threatening for more money because of the necromancer situation, leading Crete to try and steal something and then get beaten by the cops for it. Fuck! Call that karma. At least we level up. With Bendar and Golden Eyes getting their separate payments and some coercion with regards to bail out Crete, the workers confirmed Golden's suspicions. A necromancer's guild has been causing trouble around the nearby towns, and this was part of it. The crew leaves the site with their earnings after hearing this. Bendar, Crete, and Jingle go to find a blacksmith to upgrade their gear. Petra and Golden Eyes, however, find themselves a tavern, the Gilded Ale. After buying a room, Petro asks to investigate the necromancer's room. Sure enough, it's incriminating, full of sigils and candles. Bendar and the others arrive at the tavern to grab a room, ordering food and drinks to fill their stomachs. Petra and Golden Eyes join up with the group, and after some games, drink, and singing, everyone hits the hay. The gang wakes one by one, Bendar notably yelling at Petro for waking him before noon. At this point, as the group have a well-deserved breakfast, they all agree to find out more about the Necromancer's Guild problem. Deciding to officially team up, a staggering drunkard berates them, calling them the Party of Fools. With no better ideas, they take up the moniker. Yes, this is how it was done. You can't make this shit up. Thank you, Trashy. The crew sets off to the next tavern in another village as they head to somewhere that Golden Eyes believes will give them the lead. Crete starts messing with their playing cards and gains the ability to ask one question during meditation and receive the truthful answer. Making it to the new tavern, the group chat and interact with the locals before heading to bed. Golden and Crete's bond growing as they talk through some issues. The party wakes once again. Jingle, after many sessions of shenanigans, is finally able to send a letter he tried to send. Crete and Bendar wake, and the goblin tries to get the bugbear to draw some cards, causing him to disappear. Bendar ends up in another plane, is forced to play a dice game, and returns unharmed. Crete hugs him, having been worried about the whole ordeal, which is when Bendar kicks him into the wall as a punishment. And to make matters worse, he starts picking a fight with Jingle too, which is, oh my god, certainly bad. They end up leaving towards Dorviorum, the next break stop, only to hear a massive roar in the distance. Petra and Bendar convince the group to investigate, leading to a massive cave filled with books and wealth. Everyone but Jingle enters, who stays behind. The books within the cave hold no information on the necromancers, though most of the group are focused on the gold. Crete picks up a massive diamond in this time, only then does the owner reveal itself. A golden dragon. Whilst most of the invaders are trying to talk their way out of this, Bendar starts trying to wrestle the dragon for its wealth, despite its unimaginable power. That fails, of course, and it is revealed that the diamond was a dragon egg of the beast's dead lover. Yikes. At that point, the rest of us backed off, though Bendar was forced to stand down. Trying to shake it off, everyone heads back to the tavern at Dorviorum, except for 2. Crete, feeling bad about the whole kid-stealing thing, sleeps in the nearby alley. Jingle, in the dead of night, runs away from the group, likely to get some space after all of today's tension. We have another change in the roster. We lose 4 members. Yeah, Few members weren't a big fan of Bendar's aggression and they dipped. Bendar also ended up leaving too. I feel like I contributed to all this, so I'm really sorry about that. Well, we lost Golden Eyes, Petro, Bendar, and Jingle, leaving Kay and Crete, and we get 3 more members to even the scales a bit. Let's see how this goes. Crete is outside the tavern at night, and Kay joins to check on him, but it is during this conversation that they hear a commotion within the tavern, followed by an explosion. Investigating, they find a room the group had been sleeping in, gone. Inside is a magical darkness that swallowed up everything. In a panic, the 2 survivors escape the tavern and head for Bramist, where they meet 3 more people. A bear named Amber, a human bard named Deacon, and a lycanthrope named Ina. The 2 groups discuss in the tavern, Crete seemingly not doing so well about the whole ordeal, but they all decide to hit the hay. Come morning, the tavern is filled with the smell of sulphur. A fire breaks out, and the crew have no choice but to exit through the windows. Making it out, they find that the town had been assaulted by the necromancers that the group had been chasing. Putting 2 and 2 together, it seems like both the detonation and the fire were both attempts to snuff out the party. Of course, everyone tries to combat the hordes. A wonderful highlight is Crete going wild on 2 separate occasions and hindering his own party.
Damn it!
This is quite clearly what's called a skill issue.
Who the fuck asked?
Anyways, having failed to evacuate everyone or stop the necromancers, everyone retreats. We lose someone today. Again. Kay leaves in the session, and Amber is also swapped out for someone else, so I'll count that. Down 2, up 1. They make it back to Dorfiorum with nowhere else to go, and everyone tries to rest up and gather materials following a decent night's sleep. During this time, Crete makes up with both Deacon, because if a character's played by Chucky you can bet Crete's bickered with him, and makes up with the Golden Dragon back in session 3, using a bucket of meat and some good diplomacy to talk his way out of getting eaten. Returning to the full group, they all decide to sleep in the same room that was destroyed by the Necromancers Guild, which is a choice, and it's at this point where Kay leaves the party, deciding to tackle the enemy in their own way. Amber leaves too, going with them to increase their chances. Coincidentally, a Shadowkin paladin by the name of Umbra steps in, and it offers for it to join us in our quests. For the record, all of this is using a custom game book, The Storyteller's Guide to Traldos. The Shadowkin is a homebrewed species within it. -1 for the group roster again. We lose Ina. Shame. Before the night ends, the group all talk and get to meet their new member. That is until Ina starts getting an intense reaction from their lycanthropy. Outside, a black moon rises above Bramist. Necromancer magics. This causes Ina's curse to go haywire, and they run away in a horrific beast form. Deacon, now having a personal grudge against the necromancers, decides to hit the hay. The group discussions continue into the morning, primarily about how to tackle the ever-growing threat of the necromancers. Asking around the tavern, word breaks out about a growing militia in Durham. Volunteering adventurers banding together, preparing to invade Bramist, seemingly where the necromancers have set up their base. Without a moment to spare, the party heads out to the capital to join that growing army. And after some rather unfortunate dice rolling, leading to more wild magic shenanigans, all of which blow up in Crete's face, the party head to bed at the edge of the city. One final time, we lose a member. Deacon's player bids us farewell, but since we're at the end and Trashy cardboards him throughout, I won't lower the counter. Congrats, Deacon, you're a special boy. We also gained 2 more, so that's a great bump up. Now, the group wake up and discuss amongst themselves, and they head towards the amassing army. There, we meet a human blood hunter named Rex and a tiefling warlock named Calabark. It's quite a volatile group, Calabark constantly pushing to belittle someone and just being in it for the bounty. Everyone else, though, seemed to be in it for the good deed or a personal vendetta, like Crete or Deacon. After a last meal, the army ventures at nightfall towards Bramist. Along the way, Calabark is continuing his titular mocking and aggravation, causing a fight between him and Crete, partly because Calabark said he was weighing the group down. I'm gonna kill him. But when Crete claps back, its wild magic goes off in a very unfortunate display, leading to Crete becoming a marketable plushie. After a scuffle with the Crete plushie and the goblin returning to his real form, the militia makes it to the outside of Brabist, deciding to rest before the army embarks to tackle the enemy. But when everyone wakes, the party of fools splinters off the group to handle things their own way, which is of course the silliest way. Calabark rushes ahead and finds a gigantic horde of zombies around the cathedral, along with the zombie ogres. Giving info back to the group, they decide that the Necromancers must be up there, partly because of the Black Moon itself being right above the building. With a stroke of luck, Calabark baits the zombie horde away from the cathedral and reconvenes with the group once everyone enters, ready to face their mutual foe. The fight's intense, but Umbra gets the upper hand. It pushes the Necromancer off the building and it falls to its death, but in doing so the magic sustaining the Black Moon is cut short and it begins to expand rapidly. Rex makes a zipline using rope and a crossbow as the crew desperately attempt to escape, but it's in vain. Umbra is the first to go, pulled off of the rope by the void and consumed, yelling to Crete for help. Calabark is further along, but as the Black Moon snags the rope and pulls it in, he loses grip. He curses futilely as he too is consumed. Crete is next, seeing the issue and desperately trying to cut the rope whilst pleading for his life, but he fails to do so, getting sucked in and consumed. Rex could hear Deacon get consumed behind him as he makes it to the other side, but the range of the Black Moon grows too far and starts pulling him in as well. With regret, he is consumed. The party of fools is gone. Within the darkness as it takes up the cathedral, then Brabist, and further. A string of events takes place within the world, and the Book of Traldos is completely and eternally rewritten. And within the turning of the page,
a new chapter enters, where we see, in the city of Reinoran, looking upon a dark alleyway, we can see a small Kenku residing there. Jingle, would you like to introduce yourself?
And that's about it. Welcome to the new Traldos. Now things should make sense. I mean, they never will, but it's better than nothing. I won't deny it, this was the best outcome. We needed a fresh restart. And whilst the prologue wasn't required to have, things might come up. So who knows? I want to give a massive thank you to TrashyDM, my amazing Dungeon Master, and, after 2 years now, my dear friend, for reading a bit of the script. We had lost that original introduction, so it was great to come around full circle and have it here. I have been your host, Nova, and this has been the Party of Fools Prologue. See you around.